He is, Neil. Race 1 for the weekend of Touring Car Masters. Stevens in action a bit later on in Porsche Carrera Cup, but we've put you to work for this TCM race, and it's all the familiar suspects at the front. John Bowe, Andrew Medicki, Jim Richards and Greg Crick, and it's now starting to sprinkle.
Look at this. This is fantastic. Now, these guys run a very, very small groove in their tyre, but by no means is it a rain tyre. So this will have a bearing on what goes on in the next 15, 20 minutes.
On board here with Greg Crick. Welcome back, Cricky. He's been absent from TCM for the majority of the season. He ended up with some carbon monoxide poisoning from the Bathurst 12 hour. Really knocked him around, but he's back in the Charger. He's on the second row of the grid. Keith Kasuki will start from P5. Andrew Fisher, V8 Ute driver, swapping his Falcon Ute for a Falcon TCM car, making his debut. He's qualified P9 in his first hit out in the category. Bill Pye's back in that Camaro, the red Camaro. It looks like Bob Jane's old car from the 60s and the 70s. Kerry McMahon has repainted his Tirana green, so don't be caught out if you think it's a new Tirana. It is the same Tirana. Rusty French is back in the Porsche. Really nice blend. In fact, there's 9 different models of car in the top 10 on the grid, so we've got good variety.
Look, this is a great category. I like to, people say it's a bit old school. I don't. I think it's new school. It's all of the old cars with the new running gear, so they're incredibly quick and ultra reliable.
And this guy's quick. John Bowe on pole. He leads the Pro Masters Championship by just 28 points. There's not too much in it, but when it comes to this place, this category's been here a lot over the years at the Muscle Car Masters and a variety of events. He's won 13 races at this place. He's the dominant man in TCM at Sydney Motorsport Park. We're getting set for a start. There's some dodgy weather around, a couple of sprinkles on the windscreens. The rolling start, that's what we love. Introduced to TCM for 2014. Wait for the green flag. Mustang and Camaro on the front row. Away we go. It's all about the V8 Thunder. To turn 1, John Bowe in that Trans Am Mustang leads the way. Medicki in the 69 Camaro slots in a second. And I reckon it's nervous times, because those rain spots that we saw on the warm-up lap will have some of these drivers just a bit nervous.
Particularly for the guys that are a little bit inexperienced with this sort of condition. Now, that is enough rain to be causing some grip issues to the surface. But the thing is, if you can just generate a bit of warmth in your tyres, get them up to 10, then you're actually got to still have a fair bit of grip, but that's quite a bit of rain.
Medicki all over the back of Bowe. Richards next, then Greg Crick, then Keith Kasuki.
They've all got through the first few corners, which is great. They're all probably taking it a bit more careful than usual. Remember what happened back at Clipsal.
Jason Gomersall there, the iSeek Tirana, just behind Cam Tilley in the Pacer, back in TCM.
That's a ripper car.
Oh,
it's one of the most beautiful cars you've ever seen, and the boys do a great job.
Everyone's well behaved on this first of 10 laps with TCM. It's round 4 this weekend.
All treading pretty lightly at the moment.
Give it time, give it time. Getting themselves up and rolling on this opening lap. But it's John Bowe, the points leader, out in front.
You've got to remember, these cars, in some cases, have got over 650 horsepower.
And maybe a little bit more.
That's right, and they're trying to put it through a 265 or a 275 rear tyre. So you're talking about a tyre that's only about 10 inches wide.
Back on board with the Tasmanian Greg Crick in this Charger, and that is enough to get you worried going to turn 1 at 240 k's an hour. Yeah, for sure. I'd be wondering if the traction level's a bit less at the moment. You can see the old fella there. He's having a bit of a battle. Cricky's right in his slipstream, moving left. And look at JB up in front, covering Andrew Medicki, who is trying to get the over and under the double apex at turn 2. The funny thing is, this circuit is big enough that you can actually have different points of the circuit are going to be drier or wetter, and it's changing as the wind comes through. But that looks more this second time around, the run over the top of the hill and down to turn 4. Tony Karaflowski having a bit of a look up the inside of Mark King there. And that's Bill Pye trying to get a move on Jason Gomersall. That Camaro repaired after a pretty nasty accident off the start line in the first round in Adelaide. Nice to have that car back, but up the front it's a couple of old Group A rivals, a couple of old open wheeler boys in Bowe and Medicki, who have renewed their rivalry in TCM in the recent years. Andrew driving for Bob Middleton in that black Camaro. It was yellow once upon a time, but it looks a bit meaner in that black livery, but the leaders are not really clearing away.
No, and Andrew's actually looking like he's genuinely putting a fair bit of pressure on Bowie at the moment. Bowie having to drive a little bit defensively to make sure Andrew doesn't try and capitalise on a small gap. You see there, a bit of oversteer. This is what it's all about.
This is Cam Mason, Richo, in the 66 Mustang Fastback, and they actually broke the diff after just a couple of laps of qualifying yesterday, so they've been back to their workshop in the north suburbs and got it ready to get it back on track today.
Isn't that a great looking car? Little Fastback Mustang.
There's something for everyone in TCM, whether you like your American muscle or your Aussie muscle cars, or if you're a little bit more of a connoisseur of a Porsche or a Charger.
Yep.
Or there's a bit of everything for everyone. Fastest man on the road is actually Les Walmsley in the HQ holding this blue car here, car 99. He's 7th in the race, but he's starting to move forward.
Yeah, as I said, different cars, different conditions, and just as the track's drying, the cars will generate their grip differently on the different aspects of the circuit. So Les is obviously feeling pretty comfortable in that. Oh, big slide.
Bill Pye in that Camaro that stepping out. And as you mentioned before, these things have got more power than they did back in their glory days because engine technology's come so far. They know what they're doing far better than what they did back in the 60s and 70s.
Well, more power than a current V8 supercar, and they're putting it through a tyre of less width. So, you know, while they're not as technologically advanced, Bill Pye up the inside there. Jason Gomersall, good run. Actually, Bill's a little bit further back than I would have thought he should have been, but he's making good use of the conditions.
Still John Bowe leading the way in this opening race. We'll see the TCM cars back tomorrow. Later in the day, Porsche Carrera Cup. The man who sits alongside me is the joint championship leader with Warren Love. Just quickly, how are things in Porsche World?
Porsche World's going okay. We qualified third for today's race, but our main protagonist, Luffy, he's qualified on pole. So yeah, we've got a little bit to find, but no, we're looking all right. We've just got to keep things moving along.
Father on screen here. Now, he's driven just about everything. Trucks, cars, bikes. But your last week or so, you were a bike boy. But what were you doing? You went from Melbourne to Gold Coast on a postie bike.
Yeah, that's right. My premium partner, Laser Plumbing Electrical, they had raising money for Beyond Blue, and we, about 10 months ago, decided on the way to their national conference we'd ride postie bikes and try and raise a few dollars from Melbourne to the Gold Coast.
And how many dollars did you raise?
Yeah, it was fantastic. We raised about $110,000 by the time we start counting all the money.
And how much mail did you deliver along the way?
Not much, but surprisingly all the bikes went very well.
Good to see here in one piece. Bill Pye's moving forward. This is a move on Andrew Fisher, not quite through.
Yeah, that corner there, you've got to make sure you get right alongside because the entry closes very quickly.
Great to see Andrew Fisher. He's tried to run TCM before, but he's had a couple of dramas in the past, so he's joined up for this weekend on one of his home tracks. But look at this, the top four, there's nothing in it. It's John Bowe leading the way. The Hall of Famer leads in Touring Car Masters. More action from Sydney when we come back in just a moment. Old school racing. Touring Car Masters at Sydney Motorsport Park. We're focusing here on the fight that is in the middle of the top 10. Keith Kasuki in the massive XP GT Falcon. He runs 5th. Let's jump on board with Cam Mason in the 66 Mustang Fastback. He's in a fight here with Cam Tilley in the Valiant Pacer. Have a listen to this small block Ford because it sounds the part. Have a listen to this. Richo, you're giggling. He's having to work really hard out there at the moment in slippery conditions.
Cam's going to get out of the car after this race, and his arms are going to be 3 or 4 inches longer. have a look at how much movement he's got going. got a fair bit of throttle movement in there as well.
Even when he's on the straight, it's steering sideways. Now he's got it straight, pulls some gears and makes some speed to run down to turn 1. This is one of the cars in the Pro-Am.
Tell you what, there's a great little battle going on ahead here. This vision's showing the fair bit of defensive driving.
Here it is, Bill Pye on the move forward for 8th place. He started 13th. Andrew Fisher, well, remember, he's from the Ute Series. He's always up for a fight.
That's exactly right. He knows how to lean on some body panels, that's for sure.
You don't survive in Utes unless you know how to use up your mirrors, your doors, your bumpers and your boot lids.
And Mark King down there is having a real go at Keith Kasuki. Oh.
Jason Gomersall having a look too in that iSig Tirana, a new car that they debuted up in Darwin that Matt Stone Racing and Jimmy Stone have put together for Jason. He's another former Ute guy as well, so he's not afraid to throw the elbows around. Here's Mark King and Keith Kasuki for 5th place. Tight.
Hey, easy on the panels there, fellas.
Oh! Return of serve. It's 15 all.
Yeah, that's a bit uncalled for.
Now, is there any damage to the steering of either of those cars? Because that was a bit of a bump.
Yeah, the left front of Mark King's car.
Not steering too nicely there.
Yeah. No, I'd say there's a little bit of damage there. Mind you, he did run offline a fair bit, and it's easy. The tyres, when they're hot like this, they can pick up a fair bit of loose rubber from the races before.
I think I saw Kasuki with a little bit of a hand out the window. I'm not sure if it was a finger, a couple of fingers, or the full palm, or to say thank you or goodbye. I'm not sure, but when he gets to the straight, this thing, I checked out there, they've got little A-frame boards down in the paddock, and it says 650 horsepower. I reckon it's got nearly 750 the way it rocks down the straight. Here's a change. Greg Crick in the Chrysler Charger is through to 3rd, so he's gone by Jim Richards, but these two have dropped off the front two, John Bowe and Andrew Badicki.
Yeah, sure, and Cricky hasn't lost any of that pace he had before he had his little health dramas with the carbon monoxide stuff. He's going really well. This would have to be one of the better results he's been having in the Charger.
They've been working away at developing this car over the last couple of years in TCM, but it's getting closer and closer. This is the replay. So Kasuki runs middle of the road and tries to squeeze in on Mark King. That was okay. That's pretty good hard racing, but it was this bit on the exit though. Kasuki just crept across because you got the reference of the white line there.
Yep.
And then watch for the hand out the side of the Falcon Coupe. No. That could be interpreted in about 3 or 4 different ways. And this is what Mopar Power will do for you.
Big Chrysler.
Tasmania's own. Greg Crick firing on by.
Cricky's had a lot of success in Mopar machinery over the years in different categories.
Yeah, he drove a Viper there for a while in GT racing. Having piles of fun developing this car. This is a good fight. This is Tony Karafilovsky in that Mustard Mustang. He's 7th. And look at them all just lined up. Back to Brett Yulden is at the tail of that queue. There he is in 12th.
You'd have to say the track's pretty dry now. The guys are running their normal. Jason Gomersall up the inside. That's a hard place to pass there. Andrew Fisher just placing his car in exactly the right location. And the old GT had had plenty of sniff down the straight, that's for sure.
You watch when it gets out of here. And the SLR 5000's no slug either, of course. It's been in TCM for the last couple of years. Right now, not much in it on this run down the pit straight.
I'd say a little battle evolving here. I think, well, how's that? That's a great shot. You can really see the cars sliding.
Bill Pye up over the curb, all but in the grass. And Brett Yulden's trying to sneak down the inside in that green Monaro, not quite in there. Whoa, has a little bit of a drama, gives away a spot.
Hard, because the guys are braking so hard. The brakes in these cars still aren't quite big enough to go the whole race to be braking at the maximum performance, so they go off a little bit.
Just like back in the day. That was half of the issue for some of the guys in the 60s and the 70s when the cars were more standard road-going cars than specific race cars, so brakes were the big issue to nurse around for a day at Bathurst. I mean, stories of Alan Moffat with the HO Falcons and Brock and Bond with the Monaros. That middle pedal was pretty soggy partway through the day.
I think some of the dramas they used to have too was being able to reach over to the glove box and get the oranges out while they were...
Problem for Andrew Fisher.
Bit of an issue.
He might have an orange in the glove box or the gearbox. He's creeping to a halt and not getting any more speed back on board. So that's a shame. The Falcon will pull up stumps in race 1 of TCM. He's going to get out of the way. Oh, hang on. He's going to have another go.
Might have...
It is a long walk back to the pits from there.
bit of sideways action, maybe inflict the ignition switch off or something.
Oh, he's still rolling on the last lap, and John Bowers built a margin of 3.5 seconds back to Andrew Maniki. This is the fight between Cam Mason and Brett Youlden, just outside the top 10. But it's been great to have TCM with V8 Supercars this year. They've been a long-time runner at Sydney Motorsport Park. And a bit of chat that we might see John Bower in a different type of car somewhere through this year. My TCM spies tell me there's a Tirana somewhere being produced. There's also some chat we might see him in Tony Hunter's Monza here or there. And there was a bit of a chance we may have seen Stephen Johnson in that Mustang at some chance. So we'll wait and see, because everyone says, Bower wins again. Well, if we stick him in another car and then he wins, then it's hard to really talk him down, because when he's winning, he's winning.
Absolutely. Bowie going to hold Norchev power, perhaps. That'll be an interesting one.
He has run a Camaro in this series before, and now he's on board the Mustang. This is the gap back to third place. Greg Crick, this is a nice job. We mentioned he's been really ill. He had carbon monoxide poisoning that really knocked him around. He was in a great fight at Bathurst in the Erebus Mercedes-Benz when he teamed up with Will Davison and Jack LeBrock, and had a great fight with Mika Salo, the Formula One Ferrari driver. But this guy who won that race, in fact, John Bower, is marching forward. This will be an extension of the lead in the TCM points score. There's 3 categories in the series. Pro Masters, which John Bower leads the way in. Pro-Am, which is Mark King coming into this weekend. Pro Sport, which Chris Stillwell and Sven Burkhardt, who are sharing a Mustang this year, they lead that series. But this man is a winning machine at Sydney Motorsport Park. John Bower picks up another one in TCM and did it pretty easy in the end.
Yeah, comfortable win to JV. I think as the track dried out, he definitely found the grip, and away he went.
And he broke the lap record as well in this race, down to a 141.6, the only man who got to that bracket. Crickholm in third. Keith Kasuki will get fourth.
And
Jim Richards slipping back there on that last lap. He's crossed the line.
Had a few issues, perhaps.
He's back in 7th, so bit of drama for the Shannon's Falcon, but he does make it to the line in 7th. That brings Kasuki up to 4th, King to 5th, Karen Filofsky 6th, then Richards, Pye, Les Walmsley and Jason Gomes all round at the top 10. TCM, they'll be back tomorrow. Stay with us. We'll have some news after the break. V8s as well. Massive, massive day. Porsche Carrera Cup, and of course, as I mentioned, a double dose of V8 racing. Super Sprint weekend at the Sydney Motorsport Park 400.